Been a mess of a season for the 49ers, and the team's slim playoff hopes essentially ended on a miserable Thursday night at Levi's Stadium. Matt Lively joins us right now. Matt, a lot of buzz today about Devondre Campbell's refusal to enter the game.
This is not a story that we report on every day. It's just the latest in what's been a really bizarre 49ers season. Campbell has not officially been released yet, but Kyle Shanahan said he will not be a part of the team going forward, obviously, after he refused to enter the game in the second half last night. And this came at a time when they were down 2 linebackers and fighting for the win.
For him to do that, that's some sucker stuff to me, in my opinion. Like, probably gonna get cut soon, so, it is what it is with that.
I don't like distractions on the sideline. I think that's ignorant, and I think it's just dumb. It's just...
man. Look, this right here is exactly why the NFL is better than the NBA. Leagues better. Light years better. And let me explain to you guys, bro. A player fucks up in the NFL, they get crucified, nailed at the cross. There is no understanding. There is no let's talk about it. There is no what went wrong. They cut you from the team. They toss you to the side like an old pile of junk, and they move on. The NBA coddles you, hugs, kisses, takes you to therapy, tells you to get some help, pays you to every step of the way. It's sickening. Sickening. And to be honest with you, whether you say it's right or wrong, this is what makes the NFL more entertaining. This is what makes the NBA sick to watch. This is why viewership is at an all-time low. This is why. They gave the players too much power. Some people will sit here and tell you, NFL players don't have enough power. And they might be right. But if my personal observation, it's better for the sport itself. It just is. I tell you guys all the time, athletes, you can have respect for them. They're talented as heck. They do things you can never do in your personal life. But they're at their core, 99% of them are dumb jocks. They're dumb jocks, bro. They're basically Flash Thompson from Spider-Man. That's basically what all of them are. Meatheads. What they used to call meatheads. They don't know what's best for everybody, let alone them. So you give somebody like that millions and millions of dollars, keys to the city, like the NBA did, and this is what you get, a chaotic league full of a bunch of people who don't want to work and a bunch of fans who don't care to watch. Adam Silver didn't figure that out. He didn't. But this is why the NFL has it right. There are guaranteed contracts, not 100%. You can get guarantees, but not 100%. And I'm pretty sure, like, if you look into it, because I heard Richard Sherman, right? And let me say that too. The players are coming out for this dude. Like, the players in the NFL got more backbone. They don't get into the media and talk politics and tell you, oh, well, we don't know, and oh, I don't know, and oh, this, that, and the third. They come out, they call the person out, they call them what they want to call them. The coaches lambaste them, and then they move on. They get rid of you. You heard this dude right here? He said he's probably going to get cut soon. Would you ever hear that from an NBA player? Travarius Ward. Shout out to him, the cornerback. Would you ever hear that from an NBA player? Would you ever hear, oh, forget him, he's going to get, they need to get rid of that guy who's on your own team? You would never hear anybody on the Lakers criticize LeBron James for his lack of defense because they're afraid. They're not allowed to. When LeBron messes up, there's no crucifixion. Don't get me wrong. Because even Richard Sherman said, AB got criticized, and AB never got back on the NFL floor, right? But even Richard Sherman was saying that Antonio Brown, when I say AB, Antonio Brown, he won a Super Bowl and he's a Hall of Famer, so he got, most people kind of like pushed it off and gave him more slack. But when it comes to Campbell, that's just going to be the face of his entire career. It's just going to be this one move. That's basically it. But what I liked about that, when I heard that, I was like, okay, what makes sense about that is, okay, you get more privileges for winning the Super Bowl. And that's understandable. When you win the big one, if you're a champion, you should get some more slack. But you should never be unable to be criticized whatsoever. There should never be a point where your wrongdoings that hurt the team shouldn't be called out. Your lack of defense, your shooting too much shouldn't be called out like it is for people like LeBron. And that's what I'm saying. Like, when it comes to the NFL, they just got it right, bro. They have it right. This is why I watch more NFL games now than I watch NBA games. At least I can say I'm more invested in the NFL than I am in the NBA. The NBA just has too much of a circus around it. Everything that they've done over the last decade wasn't for the sake of better basketball. When they started telling people and encouraging people to, exercise their rights as a free agent, it was more just to make what LeBron did okay. But it didn't make better basketball. It made for a better offseason. Everybody was invested in offseason. Where's Kevin Durant going? Where's Paul George going? Where's Kawhi Leonard going to end up? Is LeBron leaving again? James Harden, does he want out? That type of stuff was, it was interesting. LaMarcus Aldridge being the second domino. It was cool. It was interesting, but it didn't lead to better basketball production from anybody else but LeBron James. No one else really benefited from it. Kevin Durant did, but nobody else really benefited from it. That's the difference. It just made for an off-season soap opera. But now that it's been done so much, nobody even cares anymore because, let's face it, those players that I just named, outside of Paul George, are like generational talents who really could change the difference between you winning a championship or not. Most players in the league nowadays don't have that type of leeway. And the ones that can, make a difference, basically the top 5 players, a.k.a. the Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, most of them are so locked into contracts they'll never leave. Giannis is probably the only one on there that might have opportunity of dipping. Those other ones aren't going to be running around testing free agency. They're in pretty good positions right now. Three of the 5 I think I just named won championships already. So that whole free agency thing was a gimmick for a few years, and now it's done. Now it's over with. But now what's beneficial is when I watch things like this, and I know it sounds selfish. I get it. It's like, wow, how can you say that? And a lot of people say that, but the truth is, I just like to be honest with y'all. Like, I kind of don't care in that sense. Like, I think because it keeps respect within the sport. And because it's not just teams doing it, it's also the players, it's everybody as a whole, it's the media. And they're going to go on to say even some more, disrespectful shit in this video. But because it's everybody as a whole, to me, that's what tells me that they have their league locked down. And the NBA does not.
It's just stupid. And I just don't see how you can do something like that to your team.
What Devondre Campbell did on Thursday night, pretty much the cardinal sin of a football player. And you can tell by the reaction of his teammates that they lost their respect for him as to whether or not he's been released. It's more likely going to be a suspension because if they do, the team can actually go up to 4 games, which they don't even have left on the schedule, but they can go.
See, now we're sitting there and we're having a conversation about how much money he's really going to lose, right? How much bread is taken away from him. They're talking about how the players came out and lambasted this man. Bro, if the NBA was on that type of time, the NBA wouldn't be at the all-time low in viewership. It wouldn't be basically the worst watch a major league sport out there. It wouldn't have fans who are tuning into other sports. I didn't grow up watching football, y'all. I just got to a point where I was like, man, I'm finna check out football. I'm tired of the NBA. It's a circus. Years ago. And then to me, I was like, I'm on football. Like, football is it. It's cool. It's really a great sport. And it's not because they only play 17 games. Shit, if they play 40 games, I still watch. I watch all 40. It's not because the NBA has too many games played. Don't listen to those lies. 82 games ain't never hurt. You seen the viewership when Jordan was in. They was playing 82 games. Why all of a sudden, now today, 82 games too much? Now all of a sudden, since when did it become too much? You think over the last 2 decades, people just say, I don't want to watch 82 games anymore? No. The league has turned into some soft-ass sucker-ish since Kobe Bryant retired.
Pay him for cause. So it's unlikely he'll be released, but a suspension likely coming. I would say we won't see Devondre Campbell again.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's probably done in the NFL,
His
right?
NFL career very likely over. He's at that age anyways where, this was probably...
Do y'all hear that? His NFL career is over. And they're saying this unapologetically. They would never say this about an NBA player, bro. They would try to hide it. If this happened and they kicked somebody out, it wouldn't be a public roasting. It wouldn't be a public lynching of a sort. They would keep this under the rug. They would hide it like they did with O.J. Mayo, and you would just never hear from that guy again. Unless he was some type of superstar, which Campbell really ain't. But it's like, they would hide this. Because Adam Silver's a puss. Let's just be honest. He's weak. He's not a leader. Not in the sense that he needs to be for these players. He kowtows to everybody. He wants to be friends. He wants to give out hugs. The last commissioner was never like that. And that's why the NBA was what it was. A pride and a joy. People lost respect for the NBA. Can you imagine waking up tomorrow and like everybody just lost respect for the American military and was just like, oh, forget the military, this, that, or third. People talk about the government all the time, but they don't talk about our soldiers. Not with great disrespect. But the soldiers aren't always kowtowed to either. At the end of the day, you got to go to war. And I know this is sports, so I'm not really trying to compare the two. But at the end of the day, when you play against another team, you're supposed to go to war, not be pals and friends. Not try to team up. Crazy.
Probably the final stretch, but after something like that, I don't know how you get another job in the National Football League.
What team is going to want him now, right?
The XFL.
Yeah.
They're calling for this man's job, bro. I love it. I love it. They're saying he's done. He's out of here. Not because he's out. I'm not saying that because necessarily what happened to him. And, hopefully he can figure out everything that's going on with him. Maybe he didn't even want all this to happen. But what I'm saying is it's a no-nonsense mentality. It's a no-nonsense mentality in the NFL, bro. And that's what keeps the game itself pure. Do some people get the short end of the stick? Yes. They might have did this because they didn't want to pay him some perks that were in his contract. So he might have threw a tantrum over it. But at the end of the day, they do no nonsense. Whereas the NBA does all nonsense. That's all I'm trying to get, man, to y'all, man. But I appreciate y'all watching, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm up out of here.